Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. The big story is, of course, the Reliance Disney JV that was announced yesterday. A media Goliath is in the making with the combined market share that will be over 40%. Nisha is joining in to tell us what this means for all the parties in focus: Reliance, TV18 as well as Network 18. Nisha, over to you.
Yes, good morning, everybody. It is a large transaction creating the largest media behemoth in the country, with two giants coming together, Reliance Industries as well as Walt Disney Company. Now, what we are talking about here is a large media and entertainment company, the largest we have seen in the market, with $8.5 billion of value. This is a strategic JV between Reliance's media businesses as well as Disney India. $1.4 billion will be the investment by Reliance Industries in this, and it will be the controlling shareholder, with Viacom18 as well as Reliance having stake in that, expected to be completed by end of this year or early next year. Combined entity, 25,000 crore rupees of revenue. We are talking about over 100 TV channels, 750 million viewers, 3 streaming platforms, and a plethora of sports portfolio. But CCI clearance will be watched out for very closely in TV and streaming services. Jeffrey says that they have put a 40 rupees SOTP in Reliance by way of this transaction and maintains a buy on the stock. On the other hand, Morgan Stanley says that it adds 2 to 3% to Reliance's base case NAV because of this transaction.
All right, thanks a lot for that. Well, of course, standard disclaimers should come up on your screen. Reliance is the owner of the channel Network 18 that you're watching, and CNBC-TV18, of course. But that is the big story, and more on that later. We'll try and get you more expert opinion as well. But PB Fintech is the other stock that we're looking at. Yash is joining in to give us more details on why you should be tracking that. Yash, good morning.
Good morning, Sonia. So, of course, following the in-principle approval which came a few days back, the insurance regulator now has granted its final approval to Policybazaar, which is a subsidiary of PB Fintech, when it comes to acting as a composite insurance broker. So far, Policybazaar was a direct insurance broker, which means it could only operate in the broking business of life and general insurance business. But now, with this composite insurance broker license, PB Fintech will also be able to operate in the reinsurance broking space, which itself is a big market. Annual premium, reinsurance premium, is about 55,000 crore rupees, and that's the market where PB Fintech will be allowed to operate with this composite insurance broker license. As far as the operations are concerned, of course, the final approval from the regulator is in, and soon the company should give out plans to start its operations. But the street will be excited because the company is adding a new stream of business which it will get to develop in the next 2 to 3 years.
All right, in principle approval earlier, and now the final one coming through. Stocks, by the way, done very well over the last 1 month or so. Now, Shriram Finance, we discussed briefly earlier, but Vivek is going to dive in more. UPL and NTPC are the other names. Vivek, morning.
Well, good morning. A lot of uncertainty in the last couple of trading sessions. A lot of volatility also as far as, Shriram Fin was concerned. There were concerns whether, non-FNO stocks could come into the Nifty 50. But yesterday, clarity has emerged finally. So the NSE Sub-Index Committee has given a whole raft of changes across all of the NSE indices. The ones that we are focusing on right now is the Nifty 50. So largely along expected lines, Shriram Finance comes into the Nifty 50. So the Nifty 50 will wear a different look, come March 28. Our flows of a little over $250 million is anticipated into Shriram Fin on March 28. On the other hand, it comes at the expense of UPL. So UPL will see outflows of a little over $90 million. These flows are estimates of IIFL Alternative Research. The other stock that you mentioned on the radar is NTPC. So NTPC's arm, that is NTPC Green Energy, that is, on its way to coming out with an IPO in FY25, has gone ahead and signed a JV agreement with Mahagenco, which is the Maharashtra State Power Generation Company. Now the company will go ahead and develop renewable energy parks. The scale of these parks is quite large. The company says that this will be in the range of gigawatts. So significant development as far as NTPC2 is concerned.
Okay, all right. Vivek, thanks a lot for that. Let's hop across to Vamakshi. She's joining us to tell us about some more stocks that she's tracking. Morning, Vamakshi.
Well, morning, Nigel. Let's first start off with KSB. The company reported a lackluster set of numbers. For the fourth quarter, revenue saw an uptick of almost 15% on a year-on-year basis, and this growth was largely led by the pump segment. However, after two consecutive quarters of posting over 30% growth, revenue growth seems to have slowed down. Other than that, cost of goods sold has increased by almost 28% on a year-on-year basis, outpacing the growth in revenue. So as a result, the gross margins have come under pressure for this counter. Gross margins declined by almost 622 basis points to 40.8%. EBITDA margins as a result were also under pressure, down almost 121 basis points. And after several quarters of posting positive year-on-year growth in the net profit, the company's net profit has actually declined this time around. Nevertheless, for the full year, cash flow generation has improved. Cash flows generated in this year stood at 87.4 crores as compared to negative cash flow that the company generated last year. But overall, it was a miss on the margin, so definitely the stock is expected to open in the red. Punjab and Sindh Bank is the next counter on our radar. The company has announced its plans to raise up to almost 2,000 crores via either public issue, rights issue, QIP or any other mode. So expect the stock to open in the green on the back of this announcement. And lastly, let's also focus in on Venus Pipes. They've announced a capex of 175 crores for the next phase of growth. They will be foraying into the fittings business, and they've also announced capex plans for seamless and welded pipes and tubes. So on the back of this announcement, I expect the stock to open in the green.
All right, thanks a lot, Vamakshi, for that. Here's a quick recap of our top stocks. Stocks with positive news flow: Reliance Industries, TV18 Broadcast, Network 18, PB Fintech, Shriram Finance, NTPC, Punjab and Sindh Bank and Venus Pipes. While stocks with negative news flow is UPL and KSB. Let's take